Hi, my name is Rick Noel, and welcome to the fifth in a multi-part series of videos on Artemis, which is a photography application that I wrote that helps you find photos very quickly on your computer. I'm going to jump right into the live demo in this series, which will cover viewing and editing photos from within Artemis. I'm going to share my screen here. And if you're familiar with seeing the other videos, you're familiar with the Artemis UI. This is the results panel. When I type in a search expression here, the matching photographs will appear in this panel here. So I'm going to just bring up an arbitrary set of photographs. Now, the first command to cover is the open command, and that brings up a large view of the photograph that you've selected, and you can access that command by selecting the photo and picking Edit Open, or you can bring up the context menu and choose Open from here. And if I do that, you'll see it brings up the viewer and gives me a nice large version of the photograph on screen. You can also double click on the thumbnail, and that will open up the photo in a viewer as well. The next command is the edit command. If I choose that, that will bring up the system editor to edit the photograph, which on Windows is Microsoft Paint. Not a particularly interesting editor to use for editing your photographs. So to deal with that situation, I do allow you to add your own edit menu items below this edit command. And you do that in the settings, which we'll get to in a moment. So this will allow you to create your own menu commands to launch your favorite photo editor like Lightroom or Photoshop. In my case, my editor of choice is Luminar. You could also use this to perhaps create a menu item to bring up your favorite HDR editor, for example. So let's go to the settings and learn how to create menu items in that edit menu. So we bring up the edit settings dialog and click on the commands tab. And this is where the user commands are defined. These are the first two that we've already shown, the open and edit. And right here is the plus icon. When we click that, that adds a set of fields that we fill in to define our menu item. The first field, and these are all very straightforward to fill in, is an internal name. We just need some unique name that will differentiate this menu item from the other menu items. Now, I tend to use the naming convention of CMD underscore to prefix my menu command names. So I'll use CMD underscore, and since I'm going to add a menu item for Luminar, I'll use CMD Luminar as the internal name. Next is the menu text. So that's the text that's going to show up in the menu item. So I'll say edit with Luminar. Now the menu tooltip is displayed when the user opens up the menu and hovers over our menu item. A tooltip will be issued with the text that we type in here. So I can say something like, edit the selected photo with Luminar 4. Next is the selection mode. This essentially specifies how many photos the application we're going to invoke can work on at one time. For Luminar, we're going to be editing a single photo at a time, so we would choose single. You may, for example, be creating a menu command where you're going to fire up your favorite HDR editor where you would want to pass it a bracketed set of photographs. In that case, you would choose multiple. So we're going to choose single here. Next is the mnemonic, and this is essentially a letter that the user would type when they open up the menu system with the keyboard. And this is useful for people that have difficulty using a mouse and use the system with a keyboard. So we will use L for Luminar. And then lastly is the application that we want to launch when our menu item is chosen. So if we click on the Find App button, that'll bring up a file dialog for us to find the application easier. I know that my applications on Windows are under Program Files, and Skylum is the name of the company that produces Luminar, so I'll click on that. And there's the Luminar 4 product folder. I'll click into that folder, and you'll see at the bottom is the Luminar 4 executable that we want to launch. So I choose that, and it's as simple as that to create the menu. So we'll hit OK here. And now if I bring up the context menu for this photograph, you'll see that my Edit with Luminar menu item is here. And if I hold the mouse still, there's my tooltip that I entered. And if I now choose that menu item, Artemis will launch the application and pass my selected photo to the application for editing. Now, one of the things that's a little frustrating for me is that the applications like Luminar and Photoshop are very slow to come up. I've written to the companies asking them to work on their startup speed. We'll see if anything happens. But Luminar it's ready now for editing, takes about 10 to 12 seconds to come up. But anyway, this allows me now to edit my photograph in my favorite photo editor rather than using just the system editor. So that is what I wanted to cover as far as viewing and editing from Luminar is concerned. Hopefully you found this useful. If you want to learn more about Artemis and view some of the other videos that I've produced on its functionality, you can go to my website specified here. And there are links to all of the videos there. So thank you for watching.